There's a lot of speculation and things like that going on right now in regards to Kawhi Leonard because right now his return to me is imminent. And, by me saying that, his return is definitely near. And sources are saying that as well. You can check out LA Times and other sources, where they speak about it and stuff like that. You can always check it out and see for yourself. But, even with Kawhi returning soon, possibly, this team just definitely needs work. And, Ty Lue said in the beginning of the season that this team needs to be together. Everybody needs to be on the floor. Everybody needs to be out there. In order for them to win this championship, it's going to take everybody. And, I agree with Ty Lue when he made that statement. It's just that I don't believe that he believed his own statement, because the reason why I say that is when you say everybody needs to be out there, everybody needs to have a hand in and contribute, and everybody needs to be there and, contribute for them to win a championship or for the Clippers to win a championship. A part of that everybody is you. You're a part of the team too. You may not actually physically pick up a basketball anymore and put on a jersey the way you used to, but at the same time, you know what that's like. And on top of that, you know what it's like to be a coach. And, whether Kawhi is on the floor or not, better coaching can make Kawhi's life a lot easier, where his injuries won't bother him as much, possibly. Because as I said in other videos, them being down 0-2 in every series a couple seasons ago, that could have been possible reason why Kawhi Leonard got hurt, because he used so much energy to try to help this team come back when this team played so much lag type basketball with the talent that they have on this team, and it just doesn't make sense. And I'm not saying that it's all Ty Lue's fault. I'm not saying that at all, because everybody plays a hand in it, so everybody has to take some portion of the blame. But even still, this team has been looked at as a team that can win a championship the last few seasons, possibly, or as a contender. They're just looked at more as a contender this year because of all that they've added to the team. John Wall, Covington, Powell, they got size in they got more size in the center position with Moses Brown, and Zubac. And so they got a point guard, they got size in the paint, they got wing defenders all over the place, and they got a decent to a very good bench with Luke Kennard and Terrence Mann, coming off the bench along with whoever they decide to come off the bench. So it's like, all the way around, you look at this team this year, you put them in that light of, hey, they can give the Warriors or whoever a run and they can win a championship with all the pieces they have now. But even a few years ago, they were looked at as a team that could win a championship because they had Kawhi and PG. But regardless, I feel like sometimes Ty Lue puts them in situations where, it puts a lot of onus on them, Kawhi and PG, and they got way too much talent on this team for them to really be put in those situations. Precisely the reason why Kawhi and PG might not actually stay healthy with this team, because of how they're being coached and what's being asked of them to go out there and do on a nightly basis when they're supposed to have a lot of talent around them where they should be doing less sometimes. See, in this situation, less is more, or at least that's what it's supposed to be, because with all these pieces you have, Ty Lue said in the beginning of the season, all the pieces that he has right now is a good problem to have. Well, if it's a good problem to have, you need to find a way to, get better execution out of it, because the way this team is right now, there's no reason why they should have been down 25 points against Dallas. With or without Kawhi Leonard, they shouldn't be down that many points. But what a lot of people don't speak on sometimes, you can have all the talent, but if the coaching isn't intact, it's not going to work. And one thing with Ty Lue, I know him to be stubborn. I know he likes to experiment a lot with his lineups. There's no consistency with his lineups at times, and it's like sometimes that really throws off the rhythm of the team rather than actually help them build that chemistry they should. Because as I said before, I said a couple days ago, I don't know why they sent Brandon Boston to the G League. Now, some people commented and said, send him to the G League so he could develop and all that stuff and, get his reps up and keep a rhythm. I agree with you. I mean, it's good, for him to keep a rhythm. It's good for him to develop. I agree with that part. It's good for him to develop. It's good for him to keep a rhythm. It's good for all those things. But don't you think he would get a better rhythm and develop a lot more playing against better competition? I mean, playing against Kawhi and PG in practice is a whole hell of a lot different than playing against a couple of G League guys in practice or G League in general. I mean, it's just a whole lot better. The better competition you play, sometimes the better you play. I mean, sometimes do people realize sometimes people actually play down to their competition. Everybody doesn't just go out there and play against a bunch of guys and get their reps up and play good and just that's all the momentum they need. No, playing against better competition makes you better. And if you're not playing against Kawhis and in practice, if you're not playing against, KDs, LeBrons and people like that, if you're not on the floor with people like that, you're not really getting better. I mean, I don't know how the G League is going to make you exponentially better to come back to the NBA and play a lot better with the system that they have. To me, he should be getting minutes with the Clippers so he can get acclimated and get chemistry with his guys, the guys he got drafted to play with. He didn't get drafted to the G League. He got drafted to play with the Clippers, the team that we see on TV now. So him playing with them is going to get him more rhythm, not in the G League. I mean, hell, only time sometime teams send a guy back to the G League who's been in the NBA or who's on a NBA roster, sometimes it's because due to injury, he needs to try to get his win back and or something like that. I mean, hell, the Clippers did that a couple seasons ago with Serge Ibaka. They sent him to the G League for a little bit to get his win back because he hasn't played in a while, and just to kind of get him some rhythm. Then he came back and started playing decent until they traded him. So to me, that's the only reason why the Clippers should send anybody like Brandon Boston to the G League, because right now, if he is one of your future star players, he should be on the court with your players on the Clippers, no other team, because to me, he's going to get better reps, he's going to get better everything playing against better competition. That's just my opinion. But at the same time, that's another story for another day. But these are the type of things that I see that can be a hindrance to the Clippers' success. You have guys like him. He should be in the starting lineup. And in regards to Brandon Boston, hell, the way Reggie Jackson's been playing, which has not been good this season, why not scale back some of his minutes and give Brandon Boston some of his minutes since he's not playing well? I mean, me personally, I believe the reason why Reggie Jackson's not playing, or at least is as good as he played last year, is because of John Wall. The fact that John Wall's there looking over his shoulder, knowing that John Wall could take all his minutes and could be in the starting lineup and Reggie Jackson will be subject to come off the bench, that's not something Reggie Jackson wants. That's not something that he's used to since he's been on the Clippers. He's pretty much, for the most part, especially the last couple seasons, been one of the guys on the team, the third best player on the team, and he's been in the starting lineup for the most part. So coming off the bench is not something he really wants to do. And I feel like John Wall's pressure of him being on the bench and being there on this team, kind of messes with his head a little bit, which is the reason why he's not playing to the level I think that he should. But as I said, when one player's not playing good, that means you could scale back a few of his minutes and give it to somebody on the bench who isn't, like a Brandon Boston, maybe like a Matisse Diabate, or maybe even more for Amir Coffey. So this is my point. There's ways to make things right. And this is the reason why I said Ty Lue is going to have to understand you got to get your players involved. You got to keep them engaged, and you got to find ways to give all of them at least adequate minutes to where they feel engaged, like they're actually helping the team. I mean, there's no reason why to have somebody, sitting on the bench like that when, you got players out there not playing up to the level that they should be. You can scale back some of their minutes and do what's best for the team and get better, maybe get more of a energetic type person or player off the bench to go out there and provide you some good productive minutes. You can do that. I mean, coaches do it all the time. And see, this is my point. Ty Lue has to stop being stubborn. He has to start playing with more of he has to start coaching with an open mind, and he has to be more concise about his decisions. Your starting lineup is your starting lineup. The guys you have come off the bench is the guys you have come off the bench consistently. And, in between time, throw one or two in there to throw off, other teams' thought process of what you're trying to do, and things like that. It just seems like Ty likes to experiment. It seems like he likes to, it just seems like his experimenting and his stubbornness can hold the Clippers back from winning a championship. And I really hope that's not the case, because whether Kawhi's on the floor or not, if you have a coach like that, it doesn't matter whether you have Kawhi Leonard on the floor or not. You're not going to win. I mean, heck, didn't the Clippers have a coach like that a few years ago in Doc Rivers? I'm starting to see a lot of Doc Rivers tendencies in Ty Lue, and I'm really not liking that, to be perfectly transparent. So I'm going to need him to play coach a lot better and understand that this is probably your last season with all these guys. I mean, honestly, I don't think half these Clippers players will be back after this season. I really don't. I mean, because, Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, they're talking about them possibly getting traded now, with the Miles Turner situation in Indiana. So, and then, Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann, yeah, maybe. Kawhi Leonard, PG, maybe. I think they would come back. I would think they would, but I mean, hey, they signed a 3-4 year contract with a 2-year option of walking after 2 years. They had that option to look elsewhere after 2 years. Well, this is the second season of both of their contracts that was signed, I believe. So there's an option for them to walk. Not saying that they will do it, but what I'm saying is this team could look completely different next year. So the coaching staff, the players, everybody's gonna have to get healthy, and everybody's gonna have to be on the same page, because if they're not going to win a championship. And as I said, you look at the other night against the Dallas Mavericks. You shouldn't be down 25 points against the Dallas Mavericks team with just a ball dominant Luka Doncic. And I understand Luka is awesome. He's a great player, but at the same time, you still have a better overall all around team than the Dallas Mavericks have, to me. And, looking at that game was very disturbing to me, because it's like, that's one of those playoff rivals. That's one of those teams that the Clippers should always get up for. Just like they get up for the Lakers every time they play them, they should get up for the Dallas Mavericks too, because Luka is trying to embarrass and make an example out of the Clippers. He just seems to only do it in the regular season for now, but eventually he'll do it in the postseason as he gets better and as he evolves as a player, and as Kawhi and PG ages over time. He'll definitely, be a lot better in the postseason and give you more of a run in the postseason. So, right now the Clippers as a team, looking at that game specifically, that's one of those games that you circle on your calendar, like, oh, okay, we're playing Dallas. Okay, the Lakers, that's a big one. You see what I'm saying? They get up for the Lakers, but they don't get up for a team like Dallas. And that really kind of disturbs me, because first of all, like I said, you got a way better team all the way around. You're supposed to have a better coach all the way around. Jason Kidd hasn't been coaching that long, you know what I'm saying? He hasn't won a championship as a head coach. He won a championship as a player in his later days. And on top of that, you know what I'm saying, you still got PG on the floor. And that's another problem I have too. I need PG to show up in games against teams that matter. Don't give me 40 points against the damn Kings and the OKC Thunder and the or a team out there, example, like a team like Orlando Magic and teams like that. Now tonight they play Detroit, and Paul George is questionable against that team, which, it's probably okay for him to sit out against a team like this, because I would hope the Clippers can beat that team without, maybe Paul George even. But even still, Detroit's going to give them a run. They're going to play hard, so you got to go with that. But either way, the point I'm trying to make is, Paul George has to be more consistent in his scoring. I don't want to see Paul George score 40 points against the Kings and get Western Conference Player of the Week, and then go against the last two games, he go against a team like the Nets and his offense suffers. And then, a team like Dallas, his offense wasn't bad, but I mean, he had like 10 turnovers. You see what I'm talking about? Like, that type of Paul George is not going to help them win a championship. There again, whether Kawhi's on the floor or not, that type of Paul George is not going to help you win. So the moral of the story is, as I say, they need more chemistry, camaraderie. They need to be more concise on everything they're doing, and they need a little bit more, edginess to them. And I know Kawhi Leonard can bring that back to this team. This is the reason why I said they need Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard plays with that edge. He plays with that determinedness. He plays with that hunger and that passion that other players on the Clippers just don't have, or they have it, but they just don't use it until Kawhi comes back around. That's just what it seems like to me. And like I said, even when Kawhi's there, they make mistakes, but they just seem more of a better team when Kawhi's there, of course, because he is the best player on the team. But even still, they should play with that type of spirit and thoughtfulness even when Kawhi Leonard's off the floor, because they know he's coming back. They know he's coming back to this team. This team needs to, keep it rolling, because they got so many good pieces on this team. Like I said, their problem is a good problem to have. They got too much talent on their team. That's a good problem to have. That's not a bad problem to have. So if it's a good problem, find a way to make it good. You can only do that by winning. Honestly, the Clippers should have a better record than 8-7 or 8-6, what they are. They should have a better record than that. In 15 games, the Clippers' bare minimum should be 11-4 or 10-5. That's what their record should be right now. But the reason why it's not is because, like I said, Everybody's not on the same page, and I understand it's early in the season, but we can't keep using that as an excuse. This team has had all off season. This team had last season, and they've been together 4 seasons. And, I understand they got some interchangeable pieces that came in and stuff like that, but they still should be a lot better as a unit. They still should be a lot better as a team. And like I said, they lost to, I think OKC once or twice this year already. You know what I'm saying? You're losing against opponents you shouldn't be losing against. You had to Paul George had to hit a game-winning shot against the Houston Rockets. Who the hell is on the Houston Rockets that even can remotely be on the same floor as the Clippers? I mean, honestly, they should have beat the Houston Rockets by 25 or 30. I mean, and Paul George should have rested the fourth quarter rather than being out there hitting a game-winning shot and acting like, they just won the championship over a Houston Rockets team with not a damn superstar on there. And they don't even have John Wall. John Wall's on your team, the Clippers. And this is my problem. Like I said, the coaching, all that needs to change. Maybe not change at this point, but all of it needs to be adjusted. And as I said before, Ty Lue needs to coach a lot better, and understand his assignment a lot better, and don't fall in the category of Doc Rivers. I know Doc Rivers showed him a lot of coaching tips, but I think he needs to throw some of those out the window and develop some of his own coaching tips, because some of Doc Rivers' coaching tips will get the Clippers in a situation they were a few years ago, which is blowing a 3-1 lead. And that's not what Kawhi Leonard should be going through, because he is a top player, and with having Paul George, maybe a top 10, top 12 player in the league, you shouldn't be blowing 3-1 leads with that type of talent on the team alone. And everybody else around you should be playing a lot more sound and understanding their role and playing it to a higher definition than what they are. So, I mean, as I said, Kawhi Leonard's return is imminent, and I believe he's coming back soon. We know his knee has had some stiffness and issues, but we know Kawhi Leonard wants to come back and be as 100% as possible. And I know this team is being overly precautious with Kawhi, but he has to play through that stiffness. He has to kind of do that. That's how you get back to the point where you were. You know what I'm saying? You got to kind of play through it. And Kawhi knows that, but I understand the team being precautious, but instead of protecting, just trying to protect Kawhi Leonard so you can, maybe get the best out of him and hopefully he can carry the team to a championship, find a way to get your other players on the page that they need to be on, and find a way to, just be better as a team all around. Because when Kawhi comes back, he's not supposed to come back to a team where he has to do all the damn work like he did on the Toronto Raptors. If that's the case, he should have stayed on Toronto. He came to this team to build some pieces around him along with his co-star in Paul George, so they could win a championship and Kawhi could take some load off of his knees. He didn't come to this team to be down 0-2 in every series as he was a couple years ago in the playoffs with this team. And he had to will them to victory against Dallas, a young Luka Doncic by himself, and a no good Porzingis, and had to will them to victory, and was down 0-2 against Utah, where he tried to bring them back there until he got hurt. He shouldn't have to be doing all this exponentially work. He shouldn't have to be doing all this hard work with all this talent on his team. And that's all I'm saying. The coaching and everything better get better, or otherwise it'll be a same situation like we saw a couple of seasons ago. Why are the Clippers not playing up to the level of competition? Why is Luka and the Dallas Mavericks up 2-0 against the Clippers? You know the reason why they were? Because they weren't prepared, and they came in with the mindset of Ty Lue. They went with Ty Lue's idea. Ty Lue said we will fall position in the playoff seeding just to play the Dallas Mavericks when they could have actually went up in the seeding and avoided Dallas and just took their opponent there. They tried to take the easy way out, and it almost backfired on them. And this is why I said, see, that's Doc Rivers type coaching. That's not championship level type coaching. And this is why I said I really hope that Ty Lue is not the detriment of this team, even though he won't get the blunt of the blame. It'll all go on Kawhi Leonard, of course, but real basketball players, real people who look at who are into this stuff and watch every little thing, those guys who do all that type stuff, including myself, we see all those little things that maybe even some others don't see. And it's okay if others don't see it, but I can tell you this much: Ty Lue's coaching is a problem for the Clippers. And I'm telling you, if he doesn't start coaching a lot better, more on point, and have better decision making with his players and his lineups and who he knows that can give him advantages on the court, and instill in this team, stop shooting threes all all the time and be more aggressive. If he doesn't instill these things in these players, it doesn't matter whether Kawhi comes back or not. It doesn't matter whether his return is imminent. It doesn't matter whether it's farsighted, near, futuristic. It doesn't matter. You're still not going to win because you're not playing the right way. You're not executing the plan the right way. You're not getting the best out of your players the right way. And on top of that, you're saying all the right things to the media, enough to keep them quiet and keep them off your back. But at the same time, the media sees the coaching. The media sees all this. And when Kawhi Leonard comes back, it doesn't matter how great of a player you have. We've seen great players blow 3-1 leads. We've seen great players, fall in 7-game series before because of coaching, because the right team wasn't built around them. And this is what I'm saying. It doesn't matter how great your player is. It matters how great the team can be along with the great player that can help propel them to that next level. That's what matters. And to be a great team, you gotta be good at all the little things. You gotta take care of business at home, and you gotta beat the teams you're supposed to beat if you want to be a great team. So my word to the Clippers is get better, get healthy, and get a better coaching strategy, because that's the only way it's going to help you win a championship. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section. Check out my other videos if you haven't. Please like, subscribe, and also hit the notification bell if you haven't as well. And hey, till next time.